Okay. Okay, we will start now. So as I said, this basic resonant inverter, which we have studied, it is only applied to other types of resonant inverter. Okay, to study the performance and principles and operation of the inverter. Also, the power flow from the DC supply is discontinuous in case of series resonant inverter. So we know that the DC supply, it has a high peak current and it contains harmonics. Okay, so we have to improve this basic series inverter. Okay, series resonant inverter. Okay, this improvement can be made if the inductors are closely coupled. Okay, so you can see here, in case of, you can see in case of this basic parallel inverter, okay, series inverter, there are no inductors coupled. So if we couple these inductors, both L1 and L2, so this can be modified. Okay, the structure is modified and these inductors are closely coupled. So when this T1, or you can also use transistor thyristor here, okay, SCR, and also IGBT depending upon the application. So in the next slide I will going to explain what we should use. Okay, what is the choice of the device for the switching. Okay, so when this T1 is turned on, so the current I1 means input current begins to rise and the voltage across this L1 is positive. Okay, so you can see the polarity in the first half cycle, and the induced voltage on L2, this inductor 2, will add to the voltage of C capacitor in reverse biasing of this T2. Okay, so this one is forward bias, this one is reverse bias, and this T2 can be turned off. So this will result, uh, the result of this is that, this topology is that the firing angle of one transistor or SCR will turn off the other. Okay, even before the load current reaches to zero. This will be the advantages. This will remove the dead zone. Okay, so now, so there is a drawback in this case. Also, there is a simple drawback. Okay, which has a limitation. The drawback is that this contains of high pulse current. Okay, from the DC supply. Okay, this drawback can be overcome by using a half bridge. Okay, you can see here this circuit. This has a drawback of high pulse current. Okay, from the DC supply. This can be overcome by using the half bridge series resonant inverter. Okay, so what are the changes? Okay, just they have added one capacitor C1 here. Okay, so instead of one capacitor, they are adding two capacitors. Okay, and the circuit remains as it is. So you can see here, this is a half bridge series inverter. Okay, and this is used to eliminate the disadvantage of, okay, high pulse current from the DC supply. So now here you can see again the L1 and L2 are same and both capacitors are same. So the power is drawn from the DC source during both the half cycle. Okay, both the half cycle of the output voltage. So one half of the load current, okay, one half of the load current is supplied by capacitor C1 or either by C2, and the other half by the DC source. Okay, so you can understood what is the advantage of this. So now, so this configuration reduces the high pulse current from the DC supply, as I already told. So power drawn from the source during both the half cycle of the output. Okay, and half of the current is supplied from the capacitors. Okay, either C1 or either C2, and half of the current, as I already told, is supplied from the DC source. Okay, so now next one is the full bridge series resonant inverter. Okay, so this inverter, it allows higher power output. Okay, so when this, we can see here there are four thyristors. Okay, T1, T2, T3, T4. So there are two modes in which two of the thyristor will turn on. In the other mode, remaining two will turn on. So when in the first half cycle, in the first cycle, this T1 and T2 will turn on. So after turning on of these thyristors, a positive resonant current will flow through the load. Okay, and when in the second cycle, when T3 and T4 will turn on, a negative load current flows. Okay, so here the supply current is continuous, but it is pulsating, and the resonant frequency here, okay, is available, and dead zone depend upon this load. So for this reason, resonant inverter are most suitable for fixed load applications. Okay, these are mostly popular for fixed load applications. So the inverter or the resistor R could also be connected in parallel with the capacitor. Okay. So next one, this is the characteristics. Okay, as I already told you, in the first half cycle, in the first uh, cycle, T1, T2 will turn on. This will be turned off. Second cycle, T3, T4 will be turned on, and other the turn off. Okay. So now the main thing is, okay, depending upon what device to choose for the switching operations and the gating requirements. Okay, so already we have seen the series resonant inverter with thyristors and also with the IGBT. Okay, so the transistors in the first series inverter we have used IGBT. Okay, so we know that it is a transistor. It can be replaced by BJT also. Also, it can be replaced by metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, which is MOSFET. Okay, also it is replaced by GTO. Okay, get turn off thyristors. And however, the device choice depend on the output power and the frequency requirement. Okay, we have to choose according to the output power and frequency requirements. So thyristors in a general or popular way have higher voltage and current ratings, okay, which are higher than the transistor. So thyristor can operate at higher frequencies than the transistor. Okay, thyristors. So thyristor require only a pulse. The thyristors which we are using require only a pulse gating signal to turn on, and they are turned off naturally at the end of the half cycle oscillation. We know that at period of t. So transistors require a continuous gate pulse. Okay. So this is the device choice and gating requirements. You can use either unidirectional devices or bidirectional switches. Okay. So now this is a problem. Okay, we have to analyze the basic resonant inverter, series resonant inverter. Okay, this is a coupled type 1, and here you can screenshot this slide, and as I've given you the PDF and also the book, you can refer the book, and you can see the PDF, and you can you know the formulas of this. Okay, for example, you have to find out the turn off time T off, the maximum permissible frequency F max. Okay, then peak to peak capacitor voltage, peak load current, okay, RMS load current, the output power, the average supply current IS, the average peak, and the RMS transistor current. Okay, so these are the formulas which is available in the book. You can go through the formulas, and you can use the values of RLC. Okay, and also the input voltage Vs and the frequency of output voltage. So you can use these parameters to find out these quantities. Okay, you can screenshot this. Otherwise, I am going to post it in the classroom after the lecture. You have to go through this and you have to solve this problem. This is important from the exam point of view. Okay, so you can solve it and you can show it to me tomorrow. Okay, if you haven't doubt, you can ask. Okay, so next one is we are going to start with the series resonant inverters with bidirectional switches, because yesterday we have learned with unidirectional switches. Okay, so here you can see bidirectional switches are nothing but this IGBT in conjunction with the diode. So whenever there is this configuration, these are called as bidirectional switches and series resonant inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, we will start this topic. So this performance we can see here. So for the resonant inverters with unidirectional switches, we have already seen the power devices have to be turned on in every half cycle of the output voltage. Okay, so this will limit the inverter frequency, and the amount of energy transfer from the source to the load. So also in addition, the devices are subjected to high peak reverse voltage. Okay. So these are the disadvantages with the unidirectional switches. So that's why we are going to convert to the bidirectional switches. So the performance of series inverter can be significantly improved by connecting an anti-parallel diode across a device, either IGBT or either transistor thyristor. Okay, so when device Q1, this device Q1 is turned on, a resonant pulse of current flows, and Q2 here, okay, and this device Q2 is self-commutated at time T1. Okay, so because the resonant oscillation continues through the diode D1 until the current falls again to zero. Okay, current falls again to zero at the end of the half cycle. So the waveform for the load current and the conduction intervals, okay, we can see here. This is the circuit diagram and this is the waveform. Okay. So before going to this operation of the waveform, we need to find out, just look at the performance. Okay. So now here you can see if the conduction time of the diode is greater than the turn off time of the device, so there is no need of a dead zone, and the output frequency FO here you can see is the same as the resonant frequency FR. Okay, this is possible when the conduction time of the diode is greater than turn off time. Also, this FR here is the resonant frequency of the series circuit. Okay, unit is hertz. So the minimum device switching time, which is TSW, okay, it consists of delay time, rise time, fall time, and storage time. Okay, so this minimum device switching time TSW, okay, you can see here, it consists of delay time, this rise time, okay, then fall time, and then storage time. Okay, so the maximum inverter frequency we can see here, Fs max is given by 1 upon 2 times TSW. Okay, TSW is nothing but the minimum device switching time. Okay, and one thing should be noted that this FO, which is the output frequency, it should be less than this maximum inverter frequency. Okay, this is the point to be considered. So now here there is a diagram we can see. So it consists of a thyristor Q1, okay, with the anti-parallel diode D1 in the and then a inductor and capacitor, okay, and a transistor, okay, transformer. Okay, so now here, suppose if you are using thyristor here in case of a IGBT or a transistor, so any stray inductance due to internal loop will be minimized. Okay, so this diode D1 should be connected as close as possible to the thyristor. Okay, if you use thyristor in case of IGBT, and the connecting leads of this diode should be short as possible to reduce any stray inductance in the loop. Okay, which is the loop formed by T1 and D1. Okay, this is the case when you are using thyristors instead of IGBT. So now a thyristor based converter will need or require special design considerations. Okay, why it will require special design consideration? Because the reverse voltage during the recovery time of the thyristor, okay, is already very low, around 1 volt, and inductance in the diode path would reduce the net reverse voltage, okay, net reverse voltage across the terminals of the thyristor T1. And this thyristor T1, if it is used here, it will not turn on, it will not turn off. Okay, so for that, to overcome this problem, a reverse conducting thyristor is normally used. Okay, so this is a research topic. Okay, means it is a deep topic which is not included in the syllabus. So this is your waveform. Okay, so in the, you can see here for time T1, okay, this Q1 is on, and after that time T1, okay, D1 is on because it is anti-parallel. So we can see we can get here nearly pure sinusoidal. Okay, this is our requirement. This is the voltage across the capacitor. Okay, so the equations are not required, means are not expected, but if you want I will give you the PDF to how, means how the equations, means how the voltage across the capacitor and the input currents are derivated. Okay, I will give you the PDF, you can refer to that. This operation is much required. Okay, next one is, you can see here, half bridge series inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, so this is the simple or basic series resonant inverter with bidirectional switch. So now this also has disadvantages. Okay, because inductor is not coupled, so we can use a different, okay, technique, which is half bridge series inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, just a second. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so we will see half bridge inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, you can see here it is the circuit diagram and the waveform for the load current. Okay, so it consists of two capacitors. Okay, two switches which are bidirectional because we are connecting diodes in the anti-parallel. Also you can use thyristors here, and this is the load. Okay, load is RL, IO is your output current. Okay, so you can see here we are getting nearly sinusoidal waveform. So in case of time 1, so t1 period from 0 to t1, q1 is on, and with in the negative half cycle we get d1. Okay, d1 is on and we get the supply. Again here we can see in the second half cycle, as q2 is on, we get a reverse, and again when d2 with respect to the q2 is on, we get a positive. Okay, this again repeats. So here again q1 d1 q2 d2 and so on. This is the working and basic principle of the half bridge series inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, so now we can see this is the simple. Okay, and the second one is the full bridge series inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, so when it comes to half, there are two switching devices. When it comes to full bridge, there are four switching devices. Okay, which are bidirectional. So we are using Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So we know that in case of so at a time, two of the devices will turn on and other two will turn off. So here in this case, we can see here. I'll show you. I'll tell you the basic principle of this. So this inverter can be operated in two different mode. Okay, first one is overlapping mode and the second one is non-overlapping mode. So in case of a non-overlapping mode, the turning on of this transistor device is delayed. Okay, is postponed until the last current oscillation through a diode. Okay, which has been completed. Okay, and in an overlapping mode, a device is turned on while the current in the diode of the other part is still conducting. Okay, you can see here in the figure, this figure B. So now this overlapping operation increases the output frequency and the output power is also increases. Okay. So now the maximum frequency of the thyristor inverter, okay, if we can use thyristors, are limited to the turn off or commutation requirements of the thyristor. So it is typically 12 to 20 microseconds. Okay, whereas these transistors which require only a microsecond or very less. So the transistor inverter can operate, these transistor inverters can operate at resonant frequency. Okay, and you can see diagram here. So now this is just about the full bridge series inverter. Okay, the working, and there is no need of the equations for this. Okay, you can just go through the equation of this series resonant inverter with bidirectional switches. Okay, universal. Just this is for your reference purpose. This half bridge and full bridge is for, okay, to avoid the limitations. So now the next point and the last point of this lecture is the parallel resonant inverter. Okay, we have seen series resonant inverter with unidirectional and then bidirectional switches. Now we are going to have a look on the parallel resonant inverters. Okay, so we will start. I will show you the circuit diagram first of all. So this is the circuit of a parallel resonant inverter. So this you can see here is nothing but a dual of series resonant inverter. Okay, so it is supplied from a current source. Okay, so that the circuit will offer a high impedance to the switching current. So now this is the circuit diagram here you can see, and this is the equivalent diagram of this circuit diagram. You can see here R, L, Lm and C. Okay, VO is the output voltage, Is is the source current. So from this figure you can see there is a inductor Le. Okay, you can see here L suffix E. It will act as a current source. Okay, and the capacitor here C is the resonating element. You can see here, and this Lm, okay, in the equivalent circuit is the mutual inductance of the transformer, and it acts as the resonating inductor. Okay, so now the constant current source is switched alternatively into the resonant circuit by transistor Q1 and Q2. Okay, so now the two outer terminals of the transformer, you can see here, the two outer terminals of the transformer primary is connected to the negative of the DC source. Okay, via these two switches Q1 and Q2, and a DC inductor Le, this is the DC inductor Le, is connected between the center tap of the transformer. Okay, you can see here it is between the center tap of the transformer primary and the positive terminal of the DC source. Okay, so this is the basic configuration of the circuit. This is connected in between the center tap and positive polarity of the DC voltage because to prevent excessive capacitor current during switching operations. Okay, this has been connected. So now there are two modes again. First mode in which Q1 is turned on, second mode in which Q2 will turn on. So these are the gating sequence you can see here. Two gate voltages, okay, VG1 and VG2, VG1 for Q1, VG2 for Q2. And you can see here this is the input voltage, okay, IDC. You can see here I1 input voltage. Okay, so now, okay, as I said earlier, it is a series parallel inverter. Okay, it is a dual of series inverter. Okay, you can already see here. So here also we have R, L and C components. Okay, so as similar to the series inverter, we can find out the current and voltage across the capacitors by using these equations. Okay, you can see here the equation or the equivalent circuit here. So this will be C dV by dt plus V by R plus, okay, current, okay, in the inductor. Okay, and source current. So now this equation looks similar to already equation we have seen for the series inverter. Okay. So now in the period, I will show it, I'll tell you the operation. So when the thyristor or transistor Q1 is conducting, the current flow through the DC inductor, this DC inductor, okay, and the lower part of the transformer primary winding, primary, okay, and then back to the DC source. This is the circuit, okay, in the first cycle. The source voltage, this Vs, is applied to the lower part of the primary winding. Okay, you can see here, and it induces twice the voltage across by transformer action. So now this capacitor C is charged to twice the Vs voltage with the polarity. Okay, twice the Vs voltage, and in the second cycle, when Q2 is turned on, the voltage source here Vs is applied to the upper part of the primary, okay, upper part of the primary, and the commutating capacitor C here, it applies a reverse voltage which will be equal to twice Vs, which is across the device Q1, okay, and the Q1 turns off. So the capacitor discharges through Q2. So source and transformer primary, okay, and it will charge in the opposite direction. So okay, with lower plate positive. So now the next cycle again will start with the turning on of Q1 that leads to the commutation of the conducting Q2. Okay, so this is the basic operation of a parallel resonant inverter. Okay, so by using these equations of this equivalent circuit, you can find out the source current, okay, and also you can find out the voltage across the capacitor. Okay, so here you can see here, this is, and this is the omega frequency, omega r resonant frequency, and the Tm. Already we have learned this Tm in case of series. It is not, okay, it is very similar to that of the series, फक्त ऑपरेशन डिफरंट आहे त्यांचा दोघांचा. Okay, so this is a basic introduction to the parallel inverter. So tomorrow we are going to have a look on the numericals regarding series and parallel, okay, and basic, okay, different types of parallel if possible. Okay, so now for the derivations of this, okay, which are straightforward, I will send the PDF which I have solved, and you can refer to that. Okay, these are not quite, these are very simple, not difficult, so that's why I have not taken this. Okay, you can go through it and you can study it. Okay, so there is a notice for you guys. I'll stop the recording first of all.